Dolly Parton. She's a dream come true. Having the opportunity to work with her was something that was beyond my imagination. I mean, she gets there first. That was always so frustrating to me because I would want to be the first one on the set, ready to roll, waiting to take the very first thing we had scheduled, and yet Dolly would arrive ahead of me, already geared up. I tried to remain quiet about it for years, but not anymore. I'll admit it openly now. At 70 years old, country queen Reba McEntire is finally pulling back the curtain, and what she uncovers is absolutely shocking. In a rare moment of total honesty, Reba is revealing the 6 singers whom she actually despised most of all. From sore betrayals to rivalries that lasted for decades, her confessions are going to shock fans into a whole new perspective on one of country music's nicest stars forever. Taylor Swift. It was in March 2024 that country music legend Reba McEntire found herself suddenly at the center of a social media maelstrom. One she did not ignite, did not condone, and moved hastily to bring to an end. A Facebook satirical post went viral claiming Reba had brutally badmouthed Taylor Swift, calling her an entitled little brat after Swift's high-profile Super Bowl appearance. The post came from a popular satire page, which regularly posts outlandish clickbait-type stories intended for entertainment and not meant to be taken literally. But in the age of social media where misinformation travels much faster than fact, a lot of casual readers and fans did not see the post as satire. The made-up quote picked up fast on Twitter, Instagram, and comment sections across the board, and it caused heated debates between fan communities. Reba, who just weeks earlier had sung the national anthem at the Super Bowl, was suddenly thrust into a controversy in which she had no part at all. As reported by the viral post, she was purportedly livid about the attention Taylor Swift got at the game, specifically her appearances in the VIP suites cheering on her boyfriend, Kansas City Chiefs star Travis Kelce. The fabricated quotation portrayed Reba as bitter, envious, and critical, traits that were entirely contrary to her long-standing image of professionalism, niceness, and encouragement of other women in the music business. Rather than allowing the inaccurate story to get out of hand, Reba answered back with grace and speed. She directly dealt with the issue in an Instagram story, sharing a brief but strong statement. Please don't believe everything you see on the internet. I did not say that about Taylor. Taylor is a wonderful artist, a strong role model, and has done so much good for so many people. With a few sincere words, Reba put out the rumor with her trademark elegance. She didn't lash out at those who spread the falsehood, nor did she resort to legal threats. Instead, she used the opportunity to uplift another artist and to remind fans of an important truth, that not everything online is to be trusted. Her message was firm and clear. She would not be dragged into unnecessary drama, especially not against an artist she respects deeply. Reba's support of Taylor was not simply a response to a rumor. It was a value statement. Reba has been mentoring and championing younger artists of all genres throughout her entire career, never losing her own dignified standing amidst an industry dominated by competition. Her endorsement of Taylor Swift, stating Taylor is a great role model, wasn't damage control, she actually meant it. And for Taylor's devoted fans, famous for their loyalty and swift jump to defend her from criticism, Reba's message was adored. Comment sections on numerous platforms were filled with thank yous, expressing gratitude to Reba for her positive words and for taking down the rumor without introducing negativity. The event itself was a lesson in media literacy for today's times. A satirical tweet, taken out of context, was able to spread far and wide and almost successfully created undue tension between two iconic artists. But due to Reba's timely, gracious response, what might have been a tale of bifurcation became instead a testament to oneness and respect. In an age in which celebrities are commonly the targets of internet feuds and sensationalism, Reba McEntire reminded everyone once again that grace under pressure comes naturally to her. Instead of letting her name be used to incite strife, she opted for truthfulness, niceness, and clarity. And through it all, she proved to the world that character doesn't fade in country music. Tammy Wynette. Of the numerous artists Reba McEntire has looked up to, one name stands out from the pack more than most: Tammy Wynette. With unforgettable hits such as Stand By Your Man and DIVORC, Tammy was a legend to Reba, but so much more. She was a beacon of emotional honesty, a superior storyteller, and a trailblazer whose impact spread far beyond the realm of music itself. Reba has frequently referred to Tammy with great respect, placing her in the company of most influential women and most powerful voices to ever touch country music. To Reba, Tammy was an icon, but she was also a class in vulnerability, strength, and authenticity. Seeing Tammy perform, Reba once explained, was like sitting in on a masterclass on reaching an audience. Tammy didn't have to depend on vocal pyrotechnics or showy staging. She depended on something stronger: raw sincerity and pure emotion. Reba envied Tammy's capacity to give her all to each song she performed. Whatever song Tammy sang was one of heartbreak, sacrifice, or the bittersweet realities of daily existence, done with such conviction that it never seemed contrived. Reba, whose own career was built partially on story songs, was highly inspired by Tammy's method. That inspiration informed how she herself performed songs, doing not just what was in the lyrics, but what she had experienced herself as well. Their friendship went beyond respect. Reba had the privilege of performing on stage with Tammy a couple of times, which she used to relate as some of the most fulfilling experiences of her life. To the little girl who used to listen to Tammy's records, performing alongside her idol was fantastical. But Tammy never made her feel like a newcomer or inferior artist. She received Reba warmly, graciously, and compliments. There was an unspoken understanding and mutual respect between them, based on the shared experience of exposing yourself to an audience night after night. Reba has spoken of how Tammy's humility made an indelible impression on her. Even with all the fame and the heavy loads that Tammy bore both personally and professionally, she never lost her humility. No diva airs, no arrogance, just kindness and genuineness. Even following Tammy's premature death in 1998, Reba continued to refer to her fondly and with thanks. In interviews, tributes, and speeches at award shows, she frequently referenced Tammy's influence, once referring to Tammy's songs as if they were pulled straight from her own diary. For Reba, that special gift for candor and openness was something she attempted to mimic in her own music. In a business where competition and generational gaps are the norm, the friendship between Reba McEntire and Tammy Wynette was the epitome of respect and admiration without the drama. Tammy was the first lady of country music, to be sure, but to Reba, she was also a mentor, a role model, and most importantly, a close friend. And in every heartfelt note Reba sings with sincerity and passion, part of Tammy's legacy continues. Loretta Lynn. No pair of country music relationships is as warm, honest, and long-lasting as Reba McEntire's love of Loretta Lynn. Since the beginning of her professional life, Reba has revered Loretta as not only an innovative singer-songwriter, but as a strong female icon of country music, a woman who sang her own truth, remained steadfast in her beliefs, and did so with elegance and humility. Reba has never been afraid to admit how much she adores Loretta. In interview after interview over the course of decades, she's referred to Loretta as one of the kindest women you'd ever want to know, and her regard for her never faltered. That admiration wasn't just for the hits such as Coal Miner's Daughter or You Ain't Woman Enough, but for the honesty and naked courage Loretta injected into her songs and the strength she embodied through each problem she encountered. Similar to Merle Haggard, Reba once admitted that she was afraid to meet Loretta. When you love someone for so long, there's always a danger that the person will be a disappointment from the legend that you've created in your heart. Reba was afraid that her idol would be a disappointment. But what she learned was more amazing than the icon she created in her imagination. When Reba and Loretta eventually met, Loretta hugged her warmly. No pretense, no haughtiness, no rival, only warm and simple kindness. Throughout, Loretta showered her with encouragement and advice gleaned from years of dealing with the obstacles of a man's world. She advised not only about music, but about how to remain humble, deal with fame graciously, and be yourself in a world that so often insists on compromise. What started as a session turned into an ongoing friendship founded on mutual respect. Reba has frequently explained that Loretta's own strength combined with her humility provides a lasting impression on her. Loretta never hesitated to write and sing about hard subjects such as poverty, marriage problems, and sexism, and she did so without sacrificing either her dignity or her sense of humor. That fearlessness motivated Reba to dig deeper in her own songwriting and storytelling. Despite all that they accomplished, there was never any hint of rivalry between the two. In a business where comparisons create feuds, Reba and Loretta were two queens who elevated each other instead of struggling for the crown. Reba continually gave credit to Loretta both live and in interviews, and Loretta reciprocated with good words about Reba's ascension and her power as a new generation star. Even while the landscape of country music shifted, their friendship remained strong. When Loretta got sick in her later years, Reba was one of many who publicly sent prayers, love, and well wishes. And when Loretta died in 2022, Reba's tribute was one of the most sincere, an expression of sadness, appreciation, and respect for the woman who had touched her both personally and professionally. To Reba, Loretta Lynn was more than an idol. She was a sister in song, a mentor, and a cherished friend. There were no secrets, no scandals, no rivalry. Just a beautiful relationship grounded in respect and love for the music. Reba once said that Loretta taught her what it meant to be tough without bitterness, famous without arrogance, and successful without ever forgetting your roots. And that legacy is one Reba has honored, showing that when women in country stand behind each other, the entire genre becomes stronger. The Chicks, Reba McEntire, long renowned as country's queen, has always been the epitome of professionalism, southern charm, and grace. But even Reba knows her limits, especially when she believes that the traditions of country music are being disrespected. Though her record of niceness and diplomacy is all but unblemished, there remains one feud that was the exception to the rule when Reba shed the pleasantries and allowed her genuine disappointment to shine through. That feud was with none other than the Chicks, previously the Dixie Chicks. The origins of this rift go back to 2003, when lead singer Natalie Maines sparked a political firestorm during a London concert by declaring, "We're ashamed the President of the United States is from Texas." At the time, George W. Bush was in office and the Iraq War was looming. Given country music's largely patriotic fan base, the backlash was immediate and fierce. The Chicks were boycotted by the radio, the subject of CD burnings, and left by most of their formerly devoted fans. Reba, the traditionalist and embodiment of country values, watched the outcry silently. But by 2006, she had no choice but to speak up. On her hosting gig at the Academy of Country Music Awards, she gave a cutting, sarcastic remark that immediately became legend. "If the Dixie Chicks can sing with their foot in their mouths, surely I can host this sucker." The shot was cutting, particularly from someone whose reputation was to stay out of industry drama. But for Reba, it was not just about politics, it was personal. Behind the scenes, she had been offended by similar cutting remarks the Chicks made about mainstream country fans,